Okay, yeah. So, I mean, where do we start? Where, I mean, I guess at the very beginning, your love of MMA. I mean, for you to step into an octagon or to start training, what was sort of the thing that sparked that for you that
I
that
didn't even
love?
have a love for MMA. I had my first amateur fight when I was 17. I was just a super up kid. Like I had a lot of things happen to me really early.
Like what?
My dad was never around, and
Hmm.
I lived in Nebraska or in Colorado Springs for a little while.
Beautiful.
And then we moved to like be closer to family. Like my parents got divorced when I was real young, and my dad was a crack cocaine addict and super abusive to my mom. And
Hmm.
so they got divorced, and my grandparents came out to Colorado to kind of help with the kids. And she wanted to be closer to the rest of the family. So we moved to a little small town in Nebraska. It's called Nebraska City. It's maybe 5,000 or 6,000 people at the most. And I was, not that I'm super tan or anything, but I'm definitely different compared to like, middle America white folks.
Hmm.
And so I just had a tough time, kind of me and my sister just kind of blending in. We were like the only people of color in our entire school. So,
Mm,
um, there's some bullying and just some of that bull that goes along with that.
right.
I was able to kind of clear that pretty fast because the only thing people in Nebraska really give about is sports. So if you're
Right.
good at something, they can look past all the other stuff that bothers them. Like maybe we don't like black people, but if you can play ball, we can be friends. So
Were you getting into fights with kids that were like bullying you, or
not
whoever
initially.
was kind of bullying you?
Yeah, not initially. I kind of like I was always so I was raised with all women, like or by all women. It was just
Hmm.
me and four females in the house. So I was always kind of soft a little bit. Like I've always had a softer side to me. So like fighting wasn't really my thing. Like I really liked playing football, but like I wasn't super into confrontation and fighting. So eventually I just got sick of it. Like once my grandpa passed away, I kind of just stopped giving a about anything. It
Hmm.
didn't matter anymore. And that's when I started just
How
going with,
how old were you when your grandfather passed away?
I think it was 14, 15.
Okay. So you
Yeah.
felt like you had to like really step up, and like now you're really the man of the house.
Yeah. Yeah.
And young, that's still super young.
Yeah. And he was like my hero. He was the only father figure I'd ever had. Um, and he was like this the coolest goddamn dude in the world. So it kind of wrecked me. It really did.
Yeah.
It just, and he died of cancer. He just wasted away, like right in front of us.
Yeah.
And it was just me and my mom taking care of him. So I was helping give him baths and helping him get up and down and giving him his meds. And like I was his caretaker.
Yeah.
So that
What
was
kind of
even,
cancer did he have?
well, it started in his throat,
Mm.
and then he already had like a kidney disease. So then it went straight to his kidneys after that.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
So
I'm
it just
sorry.
happened really fast. So, and
Yeah.
from his diagnosis till the time he died was like 6 months. So it was
Oh,
really
wow.
fast.
Wow.
Um, so once he died, that's when I really started getting in a lot of trouble. I started partying really hard, and I really stopped giving a about anybody. So the second someone would say something, I just lose my and I just start fighting.
Yeah.
Um, so then that always leads to other problems. You're getting in trouble and getting arrested. And so I did that whole song and dance for a really long time.
How
Um,
many times did you get arrested?
oh, several. I don't,
Damn.
can't even tell you a lot.
Yeah.
Um, at one point in time, I was actually awarded to the state because my mom couldn't control me.
Oh,
Um,
what
yeah,
happens with that? Like, what does that even like mean?
it just means that like now the state kind of gets to control what you do, and then they threaten you with like removing you from the home, and
Oh
it was
my
a mess.
gosh. Yeah. How was
And
your mom during all that?
I mean, she was just did her best.
Yeah.
She was always a fantastic provider, always worked really hard, gave us anything we ever wanted. It's just I needed trying, my mom's never gonna listen to this. I'm just trying to figure out how to like
Yeah.
say it without being
Yeah, I get that. I find that sometimes I'll be like, my mom will give me she's like, "Why'd you say this on the thing?" I'm like, "Oh, I'm sorry. It means I'm not trying to offend anybody. I'm just trying to like
yeah, I
honestly tell a
needed
story."
I guess I needed someone, not something. She's very good at giving things.
Mhm.
Um, she's also, she's a workaholic to this day. She still just that's all she does. She'd rather be at work than anywhere else. So
What does she do?
she's like in administration of nursing, like
Okay.
she's like an administrator at a assisted living facility. Same thing
Mhm.
she's always done.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, like she just wasn't around that much. It was just like me and my hurt feelings, all the time.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
so yeah, I was just in trouble, and I was partying so hard. And I went into a Subway, and I seen this, I just dropped out of high school, and I seen this like flyers, like this really crude little bull black and white flyer. It said something like amateur fight night. I was like, oh, what's that? Let's go watch it. So we and one of my buddies grabbed like a 12 pack of beer and booze cruise to Omaha, which is like an hour and 15 minutes.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, we'll just watch it and see what it's all about. And it was like the coolest goddamn thing in the world. Like looking back at it, like it's like, I can't believe that was legal. It wasn't even sanctioned like by the athletic commission at that time. And
What was like the setup for it? It was like some like
oh,
underground fight club?
yeah, it was called Omaha Fight Club, and they kind
Yeah.
of marketed it to the gang members a lot.
Oh.
Like, put your guns down, put your fists up, and so like a lot of like, like rival gangs were bringing some of their beefs to this place, and they just fight it out like in a safe space.
Is that like a better way to solve some problems potentially?
Well, nobody got shot.
Yeah.
I think I saw.
Sure.
Maybe I don't know.
Maybe. Okay.
But I was so fascinated. Like, I just couldn't believe that this was allowed. And it was just like a regular ass cage, like the same kind of fence you'd see on someone's chain link fence on their house.
Yeah.
It was like that kind of fence, except it was in a square. And it wasn't even like up on a platform. It was like on the ground on top of a wrestling mat. And it was like $7 to get in. And it was a blast. And I remember the announcer came on the microphone and said, we have an uneven number of fighters who signed, because like you didn't even know who you were supposed to fight back then. You just show up, sign up on a piece of paper, and then they just match you up as close as they could and wait and experience. Like, so you had no idea you were going to fight. So the announcer said they had an odd number of people sign up and said, we need someone who weighs between 160 and 190 pounds. And for whatever reason, I remember my hand just going up, and I was like, I'll do it. And that's how I started. I'd watched like some of the UFC, like the older like VHSs. I tricked my grandpa into renting me at like Blockbuster, but yeah, that's how I started. I didn't know the rules.
How did it go?
It was awesome. Like, I got beat. I lost my first 4 amateur fights, actually.
Yeah.
I just didn't know the rules. I'd never trained. So you get like a quick rules meeting, and someone throws you a boil and bite mouthpiece and a pair of gym shorts and some weird gloves, and you just go out and fight it out. And so I had a really good fight. The first one, I got armbarred. This is how stupid I was. I didn't even know how to tap. So I just got like my elbow dislocated. I was just like screaming, and it was wild. Then I went back like 2 weeks later, and I just kept going back. And some old guy, he's still around too. His name's Marty Anderson. He was like helping run the show at the time. And he said, hey man, I think you got some potential. I kind of run like a small training group out of the back of my house. You want to come check it out? And I was like, yeah, sure. So I started training with him, and I trained with that guy in a little add-on to the back of his house my entire amateur career, all the way until I turned pro in 2008.
Holy, that's fantastic.
Yeah, and I never lost another amateur fight again.